right, I am going to start our recording a minute early because I want to make sure I don't forget to do that. It looks like we're still waiting for Hayden McCubbins. Do any of our presenters know if they're going to be joining us?
Yeah, I just texted him. He said he should be hopping
Okay,
on
great.
in just a minute or so.
Let me check, and they probably just joined. All right, well, it's 10 o'clock. We'll give it just another minute for people who are still figuring out how to get this turned on. This session is fostering curiosity and creativity through experiential learning. So thanks to everybody for joining us. Thanks especially to our presenters for sharing, and thanks to the IMLS for helping fund this whole event. If you have any questions, feel free to put those in the chat. And I am a regional consultant with the Kentucky Department for Libraries, and I'm going to be monitoring chat and just trying to help out a little bit. So I'm going to check our participants because I want to make sure to add all our presenters as soon as they join. And other than that, I think we will hand it off to our presenters, Brian Klausing, Emily Hutchison, Fred Fecuri. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Fred, please feel free to correct me on that. And we're waiting for Hayden McCubbin. So I'll let them take it over. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, everybody. I think Hayden just got in, so we should be set.
Yep, I'm going to do it. Welcome, Hayden. Take it away.
All right.
By the way, is my microphone getting any feedback?
It sounds like
no.
Okay. Perfect. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Today we'll be talking about fostering curiosity and creativity through experiential learning. And here you will meet the team. Oh, sorry.
So I'm Emily Hutchison. I run the Central Kloiber Foundation STEAM Lab.
I'm Brian Klausing, and I run the Northside Digital Studio.
I'm Hayden McCubbin, and I run the Eastside Makerspace.
And I'm Fred Fecuri, and I run the Marksbury Family Branch Makerspace.
So today what we're here to talk about is experiential learning. So our locations all fall under the umbrella term of experiential learning spaces. And what that means is we are focusing on learning by doing. So the goal of our team is to offer folks opportunities through both programs and the open studio time for hands-on project-based learning using techniques and tools that will empower them to develop 21st century skills and experiment with new ideas and modes of creating with assistance from staff, so that they have a place to tackle new creative challenges without feeling like they're too worried about messing up. They have a support system here so that they can learn those new skills.
So like I said, I run the Kloiber Foundation STEAM Lab. So this is at our central library, and we focus on STEAM, which I'm sure a lot of you guys know what that is, but it's science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics through hands-on experiences. Sorry about some of the slides. It looks like they got a little messed up somehow getting uploaded to here. They did look better, I promise. So we focus on programming events that are targeted towards upper elementary, middle school, and high school. And our programs include things like circuits, robotics, augmented and virtual reality, coding, 3D printing, audio booths, all kinds of really fun stuff like you can see in our pictures over here. So what's available in the Kloiber Foundation STEAM Lab? We have an audio booth with a professional microphone that the kids love to use to just see what it would be like to be on the radio or to be in a podcast, or a lot of them are really into acting like they're YouTubers. And we also use it for programming as well. And that picture is someone from 88.9 WEKU that came out and did a STEAM Professionals program with us. We also have a 3D printer and laptop for 3D modeling. And then we also have programming that regularly features robotics, circuitry, AR, VR. And these two pictures, the picture on the left is a Makey guitar, and the picture on the right is a merge cube. So our programs and events, we have lots of fun stuff all year long. We have weekly drop-in registration programs that feature STEAM activities. We have drop-in on Tuesdays and Thursdays every single week, same thing on Tuesday and Thursday. And then we have some different Saturday programs like Lego Club and different things like that. We also have a weekly Makerstation program where we have this Makerstation cart that you can see in the picture, where we kind of just have broad prompts, things like make something inspired by fall or different things like that. And then we just have a lot of supplies for the kiddos to just kind of explore their creativity and create what they would like. We also have programs that highlight STEAM professional programs, and they highlight careers. We especially focus on people of color and women since they are underrepresented in STEAM areas. And we always want our kids to be able to see themselves in a STEAM career in the future. And then we also have out-of-school events. So our out-of-school STEAM events are always really fun. And we always do them in the summer or winter break or fall break. And in this picture is actually our egg drop. Our library is set up really cool where we can do an egg drop from the 5th floor down to the 1st floor. If you want to hear more about our out-of-school STEAM events, you can come to mine and Amanda Wheeler's session later today at 1 o'clock. We're going to talk about out-of-school like series programs. So impacts and outcomes, we get a lot of positive feedback from caregivers. We had one grandmother tell us that her granddaughter was struggling in school at the beginning of the school year, and her parents met with her teachers recently, and they said she's doing a lot better, and she thought it was partially from bringing them down to the STEAM lab. And also, I just love seeing light bulb moments with my kiddos. We get a lot of increased confidence in our students, saying things like, did you see my code that I wrote? I did that all by myself. So lots of really cool things like that. And then this note that I've got here is a note from one of our kiddos that says, I love STEAM and other activities. Thank you, STEAM and other. Thank you for making it possible. And then he showed off some of his math skills at the bottom with 12 times 12 equals 144.
So my name again is Brian Clausing, and I run the Northside Digital Studio. So the digital studio provides people of all skill levels the tools for filmmaking, photography, digital art, graphic design, audio making, and media preservation. So those are kind of our core areas of focus in the lab. The targeted age for the space are teen and adults. So when you first walk into the studio, there is an all Mac lab with the Adobe Creative Suite. So that includes programs like Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, as well as Premiere Pro. We also have Canva Pro and Apple software for creatives like Logic Pro for audio making, and then Final Cut for video editing. It's really important to have those resources for new creatives because they are so expensive. You know, the Adobe Creative Suite is I think probably over $50 a month. So that's a barrier. So having the opportunity for someone to come in and use that software to build those skills and work on projects for resume building. I've seen quite a number of customers in the studio start with our software and then go on, and that would open up pathways for career opportunities for them. In the space, we have 3 reservable spaces. So that includes a sound-treated audio booth, a video editing booth where creatives can kind of collaborate together or just kind of get away from the main lab, and then a production studio with a green screen, professional lighting. We have 2 cameras that folks can use. So the production studio could use for YouTube content, product photography, music videos, podcasting. So just a wide variety of uses. In the studio itself, we also have equipment to preserve digital media like slides, negatives, photographs, vinyl, cassettes, VHS, and more. We also offer 3D printers and modeling software in our space. So some of the programs and events that we host in the studio, since the studio is targeted for teen and adults, we do like to, especially in the summer, open that up for kind of some of our younger customers to come in. So we'll give them opportunities like, for instance, in the picture on the left, this was a Taylor Swift Learn the Ukulele class that was presented by a local musician. We've also done like animation classes, coding classes, art classes. We recently had an artist from the Congo come in to work with a middle school and high school group. Another thing that we offer is workshops led by community professionals, like decoding branding and design with a woman who owns her own business in that. And in the picture above, that is Bourbon Barrel Podcasting, and they did a workshop on 10 tips to starting a successful podcast. And one of their editors there just recently won an award, so they brought that along to give to present that to her. So that was super fun. We also do staff-led project-based classes. So in this picture, our digital studio associate Kayla is teaching AI for creatives, which was terrific. We kind of explored AI as using that to kind of help efficiency and all the great tools that are now available in the studio for customers to use. And then we also work with a lot of community partners. So in this picture is our Vibes and Vision Youth Talent Showcase in celebration of Black History Month. So we had over 20 youth performers come in and perform at Northside. We used the digital studio to kind of help with the recordings and for a meeting. So we kind of do those kinds of programs throughout the year. One of the things that I love the most is empowering people, because oftentimes when people first come to the studio, they have an idea of something, of a project that they want to do, but they're not sure if they can do it, and oftentimes it's the technical barrier that is intimidating for them. So I often feel like a coach and a guide to where, like, I'm trying to reassure them that that they can do it. So this is a photo of Kevin Osborne and then 94-year-old Pascal Bowdy, who had hosting a podcast on his bucket list. And Kevin and Pascal had no experience. They didn't have a space to record, or they didn't have any equipment. And then they discovered the digital studio. And with the guidance of me and my other two associates, they have released 11 episodes, which is fantastic. And it's been really remarkable to kind of watch their journey, because at first, Kevin was really unsure, like on audio editing and how to put it together and that kind of thing. But now that they're 11 episodes into it, he's mostly doing it on his own. Every now and then he'll need a gentle reminder, and he'll ask questions, which is encouraged in the space. But it's been remarkable to watch him grow from that to where they started to where they are now.
Once again, I am Hayden. I run the Eastside Makerspace, and the Eastside Makerspace is a collaborative, creative workshop space. It's here to foster community and provide access to tools and assistance from staff for all manners of projects. We've been here about 2 years, and we are a primarily 13 and up space, so we allow anyone 13 and up, teens and adults, here in the Eastside Makerspace. We have our weekly open studio hours, where we provide customers with dedicated workshop space where they can spread out, work on projects. This has been used by everything from quilters who just need a place to kind of spread out on a table because they don't have a big table at home, to people that are doing school projects that need to print out big banners or big posters for a science fair or something like that. So you can see here just kind of a normal day in the makerspace as far as open studio goes. We also have our access to just design software on our computers. We have a set of 6 laptops in the makerspace, as well as slicing software for 3D printers, as well as design software, design websites, things like that, that we can kind of give them a hand getting their project started, kind of point them in the right direction. And then we have equipment that is available for use here in the space. We've got our large format printer with a variety of paper options for printing. We have 2 3D printers. Those are the Prusa Mark IV and the Prusa Mark 3.5. We have a couple of 1 1/4 inch button makers for campaign style buttons. We have 3 sewing machines and a serger, various other fibercraft supplies, a couple of Cricut makers for vinyl cutting, and our newest piece of equipment is a laser engraver that we can use to engrave into just about any material. We also offer additional assistance outside of Open Studio. So if somebody has a project that requires one-on-one help, they can schedule time with me and come in. We've used that for some folks that just have a technical literacy barrier, that don't really know how to get started with their project. We've also used it for things like a patron that is vision impaired that needs some help doing 3D printing so that he can have a little bit of a tactile sensation for objects that he wants. So that's been a really great resource as well. Talking about individual programs, so we have our monthly equipment classes that are taught by staff. So generally those are taught by me here at the Eastside Makerspace. We have 2 sessions every month of some class that is centered around some piece of equipment in the space, so that folks who don't really know where to get started or feel a little intimidated by it can kind of come in and get some one-on-one help, or get some help in a group setting. And we just finished up a series of classes on our Cricut vinyl cutters. In the past, we've done engraving classes, we've done 3D printing classes, we've try to hit all of the different pieces of equipment in the space. We also do other classes in the space, so other staff-run classes that are about skills, hobbies, different mediums of artistic creation that the staff in the space is comfortable with or familiar with. So I've taught a couple of miniatures painting classes, a tabletop map making class. We've also done watercolor classes, earring making classes, things like that. We've had the opportunity to bring in some local artists and community members as well. So here we have a picture of one of our good friends. Her name is Ashley. Ashley is a member of a number of local quilt guilds as well as a Master of Clothing volunteer. She and a group of volunteers comes in every few months, and we teach a Meet Your Sewing Machine class. So that is a class that's centered around having folks bring in their own sewing machine, and then we are teaching them how to thread it, how to use it, what all the different settings mean and things like that, and how to care for it, which has done really well, and it has been a very easy class to set up and run. And then we also share our space with the other staff at our branch. So we will do other STEAM-centric classes here in the space that fit our vision of being accessible for STEAM topics. So here we have a photo of our Bees to Mead class, which is a mead making workshop that we're planning on doing again in the new year. So I want to talk a little bit about the outcomes that we have here in the space, some of those impact stories. So I love getting to be a part of important moments in people's lives through the space, and I have been afforded a lot of opportunities to do that. Some of those include making materials for birth announcements, making materials for funerals. We've done everything from accessibility tools to exploring new pieces of equipment for the first time. Had people that are just old enough to come into the space that are excited to make their first thing. But I wanted to talk to you about a guest that we had named Pravin. So Pravin found himself 54 years ago moving to the United States very suddenly. He had to pack up quickly and come here with only what he could carry. And in the process, he lost track of his childhood best friend. And recently, they reconnected on Facebook and, found each other, started talking a little bit, made plans to meet up and just kind of see where their lives went, how they turned out, getting to, reconnect and rekindle that friendship. And to share a piece of his home, Pravin wanted to bring a bottle of bourbon to their meeting. And unfortunately, the distillery in question that he went to buy the bourbon from was unable to help him create a card to go with his bottle. They had these like custom cards, but they weren't able to print on them. And so he was able to bring those in, and we designed a printing template so that we could feed them into the printer and talk about or go over like what he wanted it to say, filling that into the template, putting his name on there the way he wanted it presented. And we helped him design, print, and package his gift so that his reunion over half a century in the making would be perfect. And heard back from him recently. Everything went really great. His friend loved his gift, and all it took was access to a printer. It was such a small thing that we got to do, but it meant the world to him. So the space really does get to touch lives.
Everybody, my name is Fred, and I do run the Marksbury Family Branch Makerspace. The space, it's an inclusive space where customers of all ages can come to learn, create, and explore together. It is outfitted with current high-tech and low-tech tools, and is designed to promote education and cultivate a do-it-yourself spirit for the whole family. So kind of like where the other makerspace is more leading towards the 13 and up, we are a whole family. So kids from all ages can come in with their families and do projects as a whole. What's available in this space? So we also have a large format printer and that can cut So we can make stickers as well as banners, posters, and also heat transfer vinyl. So if you're trying to do like shirts, hoodies, anything like that, it's able to do it, and it will cut the shape that you want, as well as kind of like more generic shapes like circles or squares. We have 3D printers as well. We have a sublimation printer where it's just printing ink on a piece of paper, and then we transfer it to, it can be either a mug or a shirt, stuff like that, any kind of textile, and with a heat press to transfer that. We also have some button makers, 2 different sizes that can be from 1 inch to 2 1/4. And you can do like regular pins, magnets, bookmarks, stuff like that. We also have a couple of Cricut makers, 2 sewing machines, and an embroidery machine. As well as equipment, our space is also equipped with 40 plus STEAM kits, anywhere from like Lego sets to we have a 3D doodler pen, so it kind of teaches kids how 3D printing works in a more safe or kind of kid-friendly way. One of our young kind of customers in that third picture right there, he built a bridge using one of our STEAM kits in here. As well as the spaces, we offer additional one-on-one help outside of our open studio hours. So if you have like a big project or you don't really know how to use the equipment, we're here to help you or guide you to kind of get more familiar with the equipment. And if you have any questions throughout the process, we're here to help that as well as that. For programs and events, so we also have monthly staff-led classes that can provide the training and familiarity with the equipment. On that first picture, we had one of our first programs, so we made sublimation mugs. So people were more familiar how to actually design and actually print out and put in their mugs their design that they wanted. We have our open studio hours as well, so the customers are able to utilize the equipment free of charge for that, and where they can explore the STEAM kits as well. And they have a dedicated space so they can express their creativity. And the second picture that shows a couple of our students that came to the sublimation mug class, and they came afterwards to make their own design mugs. We also have some family-oriented programming that highlights STEAM and the Makerspace projects. So one of our recent programs was our Family Maker Time. So families of all could come, and they were painting sugar skulls. Our library is going to do a big kind of like a ofrenda, so it's kind of for the Day of the Dead, where people are just they can come and celebrate or remember their dead relatives. So their families came and just painted on the sugar skulls that we made on the 3D printer. As well as we have kind of like field trips that come in. So middle schools, high schools, even university come and take a tour of the space. And they kind of learn what we offer and how we can help them make their projects, or if we can help them in school. Kind of like the work the STEAM Lab does as well. We have a bunch of customers that come and do different projects as well. So we have kind of like birthday banners that we've done. We have wedding invitations, as well as posters for just their rooms and stuff like that. But one of our stories that really impacted us was Christina. She came in several times to make some t-shirts for an event called Out of the Darkness. They help raise awareness for mental health and suicide prevention. The t-shirts, they feature her late brother, Ambrose Jones, who ended his life after battling mental health and drug addiction for much of his life. And on the front, the shirt features one of his tattoos that he had saying, "Don't forget to love yourself today." And on the back, it shows different family pictures throughout the years for him. We worked with her and her husband for several days to design, print, and make the T-shirts, and we used a large format printer for that. And honestly, that project came out really, really well. And it's really nice to see people come in and share their story and why they're using the space, and they can come and create those projects. And we are there to help them during the process to make something beautiful like this.
So as mentioned by several of us, that we offer book librarians at all of our experiential learning spaces. So this is where we will work one-on-one with a customer. So while all the spaces are fully staffed, sometimes customers need a little more help due to the scale of the project, technology literacy, physical ability, or just because they never had the chance to learn and needed skill for what they want to create. So in these circumstances, we offer the opportunity to schedule up to a 45-minute at a time with a member of our team to get one-on-one assistance so they can feel confident with the project that they're working on. And this is all done through the Lexington Public Library's Book Librarian program. So in the picture here, you'll see our digital studio associate, Kayla, working with a customer. She wanted to make a poster for her grandson's parade event at his elementary school. So Kayla worked with her in Canva Pro to design the poster. And then Kayla sent the customer to the Marksbury Makerspace where she printed the poster. And it came out so great that she brought it back to Kayla to show her how it turned out. So not only is this a great example of the book librarians where we're working one-on-one with people, but it shows how the spaces are connected to where if someone comes into the digital studio and does a design work, they can then take that to one of the other spaces. So that is something that we like to do, to where we're collaborating with the other spaces program-wise, as well as recommending customers visit the other spaces as well.
So how can you add experiential learning to your library? You don't always have to have a dedicated space. You could have something like a maker cart, like we have for MakerStation, in order to have experiential learning. And also you can kind of implement the ideals and reinforce those skills in regular programming. So these are just some of the different things that we focus on, things like leading but not doing, right? That was a big problem for me in the beginning, is when I saw someone using a tool incorrectly or something like that, I wanted to just take it and do it for them, but that's not actually helpful. We want them to learn by doing. And so instead you can do things like model what the proper way to use the tool. You also can celebrate process and product. So if someone's doing a painting or something like that, maybe not only say, oh my gosh, I love your painting at the very end, but also say, I love how you did these specific colors. And maybe you were trying to evoke a specific feeling or something with those colors. You also don't need to be the only person in the room with answers. That's a really big thing for our experiential learning department, because a lot of the times things can seem intimidating. I don't actually come from a STEAM background. I previously worked with broadcasting and things like that. So I had a little bit of a tech background, but science and math and everything like that wasn't actually really my strong suit. So that can always be kind of nerve-wracking. But once you kind of phrase it more as maybe, if we don't know the answers, we can find them together. It also takes some pressure off of them, and it takes some pressure off of you. For example, I taught skeletons last week, and some of the kids were asking very, very specific questions about skeletons. And I would love to know everything I could about skeletons, but I also have great resources when I don't know the answers. So we would look up answers together, and that also teaches them a little bit about how to find answers for their questions. So even with budget constraints, you can have experiential learning. We rely really heavily on community partners. Sometimes it's an artist and they get paid or different things like that. And then sometimes it is somebody that is maybe a part of a company or different things that part of their mission is outreach and education. And so they'll do it for free. It just depends on the person. But it never really hurts to ask. All they can do is say no. So we have, artists and that come into the maker spaces and scientists that come into the STEAM lab and different things like that. And so that's always a great help for experiential learning. We also do a lot of budget-friendly programs. My kids love when I just put out a bunch of different supplies like cardboard and different things like that, and just let them create. So we've made things like cardboard cities and cardboard sculptures and different things like that. And all you needed was some cardboard and some tape. We also do a take it apart and make art program fairly often, where we'll take technology that was either unwanted or it was broken and it was going to go to recycling. I'll hit up our IT department every year and say, hey, give me all your stuff that you're going to recycle. And then we will give the kids tools like screwdrivers and different things and let them take it apart. And so they can make some art and also learn a little bit about different aspects of technology. Some people do that program with hammers. I do not do that program with hammers because I want the kids to be thinking of being mindful as they take it apart instead of just smashing things. But we also do learn to paint. So that's a program that we've done in the Makerspace a couple times. Your biggest investment is the paint, obviously. But then after that, it's not a huge investment as far as running that program. We utilize a lot of free software. We utilize Tinkercad quite a bit. That is a 3D design software that is really, really user-friendly. It's kid-friendly. You can set up classrooms and different things like that that work really well so that people don't have to have accounts if they don't want to. We also utilize Canva a lot. We have Canva Pro that we use in our learning spaces, but we also really encourage our customers to use free Canva because you can still do a lot with free Canva as far as designing. And then Brian over at the Digital Studio utilizes BandLab quite a bit, which is like a cloud-based music software. And then we also utilize MakeCode, which is a free coding software with lots of cool tutorials. So if you're looking to start your own learning spaces, I encourage you to consider these resources. Makers in the Library is a great resource as far as creating a learning space. It has everything from how do you plan a budget, how do you survey your customers or patrons to figure out what they would like and different things like that, all the way to how do you maintain it after the fact. So it's just makersinthelibrary.org. They have lots of really great resources as far as creating learning spaces. Also learning spaces around you. When we have created our spaces, we have gone to other people's learning spaces, whether that be a library or a museum or community maker spaces. We also have met with places in other states that we talk about their learning spaces and how it worked. And you guys are always welcome. If you are close to Lexington or you want to make the trip out, you can contact one of us and we would be happy to set up for you guys to come see our space and learn a little bit more about it. And then also Makerspace meetings with KDLA. So they do a monthly Makerspace meeting every single month. And there's people in those meetings that don't have a Makerspace and they want to learn more about having a Makerspace. And there's people in there that run Makerspaces all the time. And so it's a really, really great resource. Learning from others is always a really great resource. And that is all we have. So what are your all's questions?
Thank you so much. This is Chris with KDLA, and we already had one question from David Payne. Do you have a list of STEAM professionals that we could add to our contacts?
I unfortunately do not. That is something I've really wanted our whole library system to come up with, because it is hard, because some people will have a contact somewhere and then somebody else will have a contact other places. But unfortunately I don't. I do often reach out to local universities. I've had the Society of Women Engineers come, or we've taken kids to UK, or different things like that. So you could check out that. You also could check out any kind of local organization. Like I said, it never hurts to ask as far as getting contacts. Anybody else have any questions?
Well, I don't see anything else in the chat. We can give it just a minute. I'm a big believer in quit when we're through, so we can. If we don't have any questions, then we can let people log off. Thanks to everybody for joining us. Thanks so much to our presenters for all this information. And thanks again to IMLS for providing funding that we use to put this program on. Okay, here we go. Judy Lippman, are all of your libraries in Lexington?
Yeah, all our libraries are in Lexington. We have 6 branches. We have learning spaces at 4 of those. So we're at the Central Library, downtown Lexington, Northside Library, Marksbury Family Branch that just opened in March, and then the Eastside Branch.
And often we try to take to the other 2 branches that don't have learning spaces. We'll do programming with either the children or teen librarian or the adult program. So we work closely with our other colleagues, just kind of throughout the system.
Do we have any other questions? Did you have grants to help obtain the machines you use? From Michaela Berry.
Yeah, so we've had a little bit of grants and directed donations that go towards individual pieces of equipment in our spaces. We also use like budgetary purchasing for that as far as budgets go for our spaces. But the newest piece of equipment in the Eastside branch is our laser engraver. The laser engraver was actually purchased with funds that were donated specifically to our space by a local business so that we could add a piece of equipment and teach a class on it over the summer. So we were able to make that purchase with those funds.
Thank you. Judy Littman asked, is John Mark connected with the Marksbury branch? And how do you advertise programs to your community?
I'm not sure about John Mark. The Marksbury Family Branch is the Marksbury family, so I think it would be somebody from the Marksbury family. As far as how we advertise our programs, we utilize Facebook, we utilize our website, and then a lot of it is just word of mouth. It depends on what the program is, but a lot of like Hayden's programs over at Eastside, they fill up as soon as they get posted. We do lots of flyers and different things like that that will hang up in all of the branches and different things like that.
Also, if you know of like local groups that are focused around the subject that you are doing a program on. So, for example, if I'm doing a sewing class, I might talk to a couple of contacts in local quilt guilds so that they can kind of put out that word. Or if I'm doing something that is like tabletop role-playing game centric, something like miniatures painting, map making, things like that, I will talk to a couple people that own local game stores, put up some flyers there, that kind of thing, and those will go up really quickly.
In chat, David Payne suggested looking into Steel Reese grants as a possible source of money to buy makerspace equipment. Do we have any other questions? All right. Well, I think we have wrapped up. Thanks so much to you all for presenting for us. This was a really interesting session, and I will look forward to seeing folks next time. Thanks to all the attendees for joining.
Thank y'all.
Cool. Bye. Thank you guys.
Thanks.